Hello, hello, welcome to Season 5 House Play D&D, the Explainer podcast where one experienced dungeon master and one failed scriptwriter discuss D&D topics. My name is Kinsey and my illustrious guest this week is Luke, also known as Nomadic Bard. Hello, Luke.
Hello, how is
Hello.
everyone?
Thank you for coming back.
You didn't scare me off.
Yeah, not often. And the people that do usually have to be tested. So
That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
by the government, not by me. It's weird if
I work for the government, so it's fine.
Yeah, right. Oh no, an inside plant. Yeah,
I am. Yeah.
A D&D plant is happening. Yeah. All right. So this season we are doing things slightly different. Our guests have selected an enemy from a list that I've supplied. And they're going to educate us as to why we should use these creatures. And of course, I will interrogate. Luke, what creature have you decided to pick this week?
My absolute favorite and probably my autistic special interest, which is Liches.
Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so today's episode is on liches. I went to say leeches then. Lich is most likely the only word used to describe your horrible grandma that you won't recognize. I had so
Absolutely
many.
fair.
I had so many, and I was like, yeah, no, she would know what that is. So I had to.
No, 100%. She probably would think it's Liches, which equally kind of a shitty thing to call your grandma, but still.
Yeah, you leech. Can you put your washing away? You leech. Sorry, nothing, Nan, nothing.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't.
So let's go to the beach.
Yeah. Okay, so now to the serious questions.
Yeah.
Luke, I've learned a lot since my wife left me 3 months ago. Beetles don't taste like Smarties, despite the label saying that's where the blue comes from. Is this enough of a realization for my wife to take me back, or should I stop making her out to be real? What am I doing?
I think it's enough of a realization for her to take you back. I think that's absolutely valid and will be the rekindling that you need.
No, she couldn't name one other person on the planet who would eat blue beetles. Could you?
No, not at all.
Exactly. Heroic. There'll be a statue in my name. in no countries. Right, okay. Why did you pick liches?
I mean, first of all, as I said, I've just been obsessed with them for a while, but equally, they are some of the, and have been, the creature base of some of the best villains across canon D&D lore, really, from Saztam to Vecna, which is probably my favorite villain.
we will talk about Vecna briefly. Down the line in this question. Yeah, briefly. It might be a 4-hour special.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have to cut me off.
Yeah, it's a whole season on Vecna. Okay, so what kind of stats does a Lich have?
Oh, too many. I mean, generally they end up being an 18th level spellcaster. They get legendary action, 4 legendary resistances unless you're in their lair, in which case they get 5, and their lair actions
That's nice.
too. So as a DM, it's fantastic. You've got so many ways to fuck over your players.
100%.
To be honest. So they have all sorts of things from power word kill, resistance to most bits of damage. They are a tough one, and I would not recommend doing it on a first level party.
Which, do you know what? I'm sure there are people out there who, I think we did this as a kind of a joke post the other day on Instagram, but people who will put their BBG in the first session and accidentally
100%.
kill their players.
100%. I was watching something about this the other day and being like ways to get around it, and I was like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are a great creature, and I think it's one of those ones because they're such an omnipresent threat, because you can't just kill them outright. You have to go and find their little phylactery where they live, or their Horcrux if you're a Harry Potter fan, and destroy that to then have them not come back. So you could literally go through the entire fight, kill them, and then in 1d10 days they could come back to life, which is great.
And then sitting there like what's his name from South Park shouting, "I don't hear no bell."
Yeah, legit.
Randy, I didn't hear no bell. Comes back in 10 days. One spell eviscerates the party who didn't rest.
100%. Yeah, that would be exactly what happened.
Right. So how does a DM use a Lich in their game?
Oh God, probably as your big bad, really, more than anything.
Mm,
One because they're obviously quite interesting. You can tell very interesting stories with them being corrupt spellcasters, sort of trying to be immortal. Um, I think, I mean, I'm going to say spoilers for campaign one of Critical Role, but it's been 8 years now. If you haven't watched it by now, what are you doing? But
it's on you. It's on
yeah,
you.
absolutely watch other DMs do it. Matt did a great job of, as always he does, but of running Vecna and having him sort of cults and other bits and pieces of for the Lich throughout the series, and then
Mm,
having the sort of big reveal in sort of like the last couple of arcs of that story. And I think that's sort of generally a better way to do it. You have people that are trying to bring them into the world, or are just
mm.
generally worshipping them, and then have it eventually having the party having to defeat them. But absolutely when they are much higher level than probably most of our parties are.
It is tough. It's tough to
Yeah.
because you want to bring something in. I mean, it's the same for any enemy, really. You want to
Yeah.
bring something in that's exciting. You kind of want to show it off. You're not expecting them
Oh
to
yeah.
fight, but then people forget that people will just go out and try and fight regardless of the level. And it's a
Yeah.
really good point there of introducing them all like hearsay of like
Yeah.
being spoken about. There's talks of rather than
Yeah.
Gary's here. Gary's gonna fuck you up.
Gary the Lich is a great
Gary the
name.
Lich.
Absolutely, because I mean, having access to Power Word Kill and and other equally horrifying spells, you would annihilate somebody
Mm,
so easily and so quickly that yeah, it's better to have those hearsay bits where you can kind of talk about some of the powers as well,
yeah.
before really getting into it and giving them a bit of a heads up and chance to like research them because you don't want to just charge into a battle with a Lich without knowing anything about them.
Do you know what? It's also there's so much more to it that when you do defeat something like
Mm,
that there's been hype. Like you kind of
100%.
what can happen. You
Yeah.
know how powerful they could be. You know it has
Yeah.
power word kill. So you like it kind of shits your players up, but it's kind of
Yeah.
creating like an ongoing lore. Do you know what I mean? Which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And equally for like people as dungeon masters, because it is a hard creature to run.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest one because you have so much to keep track of and so much that they can do. Um, Especially when you're getting into creatures with lair actions as well. As fun as it is, you could already have so many things on the field, or have to have gone through so many things on the field. Because I mean, a lich isn't just going to stand there without some kind of undead army or the like to your
Exactly.
players have
We
to go
hope.
through first. Yeah, you'd hope so. Yeah, although they absolutely could. So yeah, you're going to have enemies that lead up to this. So absolutely having a bit of experience running lower level creatures with legendary actions first is a really good way to start, just to ease yourself into it. Don't go super high super quickly.
Definitely. Can you give an example of when you used one or when you encountered one?
So I haven't encountered one as a player as much as I have tried.
Tried to.
Um,
You just like, please, just leaving little notes to the DM, like, "Hey, I'm
yeah,
not free this week. Is there a lich tonight?"
yeah. Is there a
Just
lich
things like,
tonight? Okay,
yeah,
I'll come. Yeah, because we got. I'm in a Strahd campaign, which is probably the only campaign I really played. And Vecna got an honourable mention, and I was like, my character had no idea about them, and I was like, I'm having to contain my excitement at the
yeah,
mention,
yeah.
and not just keep like going down that path for no reason. But actually, I hopefully none of my players are actually listening, and I will tell them absolutely not to
Oh, no
listen to
one
this.
listens to this podcast. Don't worry.
Uh, I'm sure some of my players will, but the ones that it will affect, I'll be like, just don't listen to this episode.
Yeah.
But they're going to be fighting a lich,
Okay.
or an arch-lich, who is basically the king of one of my countries in the world, who
Mm,
is a lich. So they're going to have to find that out first and foremost. Which there's some hints that they've had, but not many yet. Because he's got a simulacrum running the country. But I'm excited to play it. Because I've added some eldritch aspects to him because he's been in a warlock pact,
mm.
as well as being a wizard. So adding some of those little bits and pieces in will be fun. Much more to keep track of than I already needed, but so I'm
Yeah.
excited to see how the players cope and deal with it. And even find out the information and where his phylactery is and all of the fun things. Where
Mm.
we're nowhere near that yet. That we're quite a few arcs away from that.
So with there, you said about being an arch lich, and
Yeah.
obviously some people if they've done a bit of D and
Oh
D,
yeah.
there's demi liches as well.
Yes, there
What
is.
are the
Yeah.
separation of like the titles?
I mean, as most people would expect with at least an Archlich, it just means that they have slightly more power. They tend to be 20th level spellcasters.
Right.
Um, and are a little bit more proficient or have been around for a lot longer. Demi Liches generally are those who are sort of reaching the end of their arcane journey
Okay.
and are kind of like a lesser lich in some respects. They haven't completely evolved into a full undead body. A lot of times you find them as just a floating skull, which is quite fun.
Oh, okay,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so they can be equally quite fun to run. But yeah,
It's good though. It's good. I mean, with a lot of stat blocks, and obviously a lot of people can reskin these and do things
yeah,
themselves as well if it doesn't exist in the monster manual. But it's good that there are things to work from as different levels. Like arguably, I mean, I don't know why you would, but you could have a lich at like level 5, but
oh yeah,
I don't know what you'd get out of it having it so low, but it
yeah,
meant to be so important. Do you know what I mean? Just have
yeah.
a different enemy.
Yeah, you are right. You can scale the creatures down if you want to, or yeah, have them fight uh one or whatever you want to call it. I think it's always good as well going back to some of the earlier editions that have a little bit more because I think things like Demi Liches aren't. I'm not sure they're in the 2024 manual at the moment. They probably will be at some point. Um, but it just gives you those options to, like you say, even hint to a higher powered lich that
Mm,
there's all these liches around and bits and pieces like that. So there are ways you could run it, but yeah, it's good fun.
nice. So here's the big one, I
Yeah,
suppose.
go for it.
Vecna.
Ha, yeah.
What are we saying? If people
What are we
don't know who
saying?
Vecna is, how can you describe who
Oh
Vecna is or what
God.
Vecna is?
If you don't know who Vecna is, you need to go and research immediately. Um, Vecna has been around through most editions of D&D. There's a lot of lore in second edition, I know, especially. Essentially was a necromancer who obviously wanted more power, became a lich because of that. There's a few iterations. So the critical role version, I think even in canon D&D, he's trying to ascend to godhood.
Mm.
Does so somewhat successfully, or partly successfully. Um, but there's a lot of deep lore around him. There's two big magical items, which are the hand and eye of Vecna, that you can get as magical items, which give you insane powers, especially if you get both of them, which I don't think many DMs are going to be giving their party those
Definitely
unless
not.
they really need to. I certainly will not be. Um, but that give you the power, a lot of those powers that we sort of talked about of
Mm.
teleportation, scrying, access to wish as a spell, which can be quite fun as a DM to have just because of how insane you can make it and how you can mess your party over with it. Um, but yeah, he's so well known. There is so much lore that I think I literally probably would be going into a 4 hour podcast on
It's
him.
good. I think like Vecna's a really good one that like even if you quite even early on from me playing D&D, I'd heard
Mm,
of him. Like
yeah,
people bring it up as a conversation. Like and
yeah.
so even if you don't have him in your campaign or you might not come across him in an
No,
actual pre-written book, it's good that a DM can kind of slide that in as a bit of
yeah.
like this thing exists somewhere, and people go, hang on a minute, I've heard of that. You know, just for the
Yeah.
players as much as the characters. So
Yeah.
it's really nice. I think also there's obviously like more recently last year we have the Eve of Ruin Vecna book.
Yes. Yeah.
We've got
Yeah.
previous books of Vecna, so there's lots of ways that people can, if they don't know how a lich can run, that you
Yeah.
can build up to it with a guide essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there is much more out there now for sort of the more modern editions with him, like you say, with the Eve of Ruin book. And equally, I think, like you said, like I know for me, there'll be mention in my campaign of him just as a, if they start researching Lich, is a very famous Lich who was trying to do all sorts of stuff across the plains. So you can use him as an example in your game, like you
Mm.
say, one to so that you've got to guide yourself as a DM of how to run or some of the background lore you could give a Lich, but equally to sort of give that spark of recognition to your players of like, oh wait, we've come across this name, this isn't good.
Yeah, yeah. Just like a bit of fear that they won't ever have to deal with to keep them on
Absolutely,
their toes.
absolutely, you've
All
got
right,
to
the last question then.
go.
What's your least favorite enemy in D&D recently?
Oh god,
Tough
recently,
one. It's a tough one.
oh, it is. I'm trying to think of the last enemy that. I played that really fucked me over. I
Yeah.
mean, in Strahd at the moment, there was some animated scarecrows that were doing my head in,
Right. Yeah.
just because we were messing around so much, more than anything, and pissed off a hag in a swamp. So you know what you're gonna do. She sent some stuff after us, so that was pretty
It's
annoying.
your own fault. It's your own
It was
fault.
our own fault. It was absolutely partly my character's fault more than anybody else's, to be honest. Just
I
starting
love
to
it.
smash the shit for no reason.
Right,
Uh,
animated scarecrows then for this
yeah,
episode.
animated scarecrows for this episode. They
Nice.
were
All right.
really annoying.
Yeah. All right. Well, a nice and simple one.
Yeah.
And people absolutely love Liches, so I hope they do listen and they get something out of it and where to find new bits.
Yeah.
Today's adventure is sadly coming to a close. We're back again next week with a topic: where does spaghetti come from? And as always, thank you for tuning in. If you like joining on the D&D action, then please follow us on Instagram at How to Play D&D or check out the link on our bio to join our Discord server. Luke, where can people find you and what are you doing at the moment?
You can find me mostly on Instagram. It's probably where I'm the most active at NomadicBard93. Equally, I am, at the time of recording this at least, just starting an actual play called Bard Shots. You might see some amazing guests like our gorgeous host here. If he wants to come back to the table maybe a few times.
No.
No, absolutely not. No. But the actual play, basically, each session is a new system, new game, potentially new cast members, where we can explore all the amazing indie TTRPGs out there, as well as nods to some of the bigger companies like Wizards and D&D. So, yeah,
Amazing.
please come follow me there.
Yeah, proper excited to see how that goes. Also excited to play something new and be shit at that as well.
Same with me DMing it, yep.
Yeah. Well, I've been Connor Kinsey.
I've been Liches.
Good day.